Good morning, families. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us this morning with our weekly Coffee with the Principal. Just as a reminder, you've joined the meeting muted. Feel free to use the chat box as needed. We're recording the meeting. We encourage you to leave your video on, but you certainly don't have to. It helps better simulate an in-person meeting. Feel free to use the raise hand feature in the Zoom during Q&A. When you're called on, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask your questions. So again, so glad you're here. I'm going to go pretty fast this morning, so we can stop by about 9:15, so that I can make sure I answer your questions, because I have a hard stop this morning for 9:30. So welcome, so glad you're here. So one of the exciting things that I get to do, my favorite part of this job as a principal, is I get to go into classrooms and watch instruction to see what our amazing teachers and our amazing scholars are doing and learning. And I was very excited to go into ELA classrooms this week and see the different grade levels as they start digging in deeply to inferences, and in sixth grading to citing and finding central ideas and connecting those to specific texts. So shout out to Miss Bennett, whose classroom I stopped in earlier this week, where they were doing a specific activity looking at pieces of text and understanding where specifically the inferences are made from that. How can students make inferences as they look at texts? Whoops, let's turn the radio off. Also shout out to Miss Savitt, again, who is giving the kids high-level, grade-level text as they look at specific text features, defining what they are and why they're useful. So it's really important that as you interact with your teenage child, to really talk to them about what they're learning specifically, not just what homework they're doing, but what specific they're learning about in their classrooms. So super excited to share that. One of the other things that I wanted to share with families starting today is this. As a school, we're taking a look at this book this year. It's called The Science of Learning, 99 Studies That Every Teacher Needs to Know. And it's a wonderful book. And what it does is it takes research from peer-reviewed journals, education journals, psychology journals, data journals, and boils them down into simple 1 or 2 page infographics in a digestible way. And they really should have subtitled this book, 99 Studies That Every Teacher, Administrator, and Parent Needs to Know. And so what I'm going to be doing throughout the year is I'm going to be sharing with you some of the research, particularly in regards to the parent aspect of what we know and what science and research have said about ways to support your child in learning. So this morning, we're going to jump right into that, and hopefully you'll find something that turns on a light bulb in your mind, and we can move forward in terms of that. All right. So first one I want to look at again just today is this one. There's a study trying to ask the question for parents: what can I do to best help support my child? So these researchers, they reviewed 37 studies on the effects of parental behaviors and attitudes on children's grades. Like what are specific parent behaviors that are related to students and their grades and their achievement? So we're going to take a look at this morning very briefly, but I want to start off with something a little bit fun, a true-false question. So I invite you to play this true-false. So true or false, what do you think? I would like you to type in the chat. What do you think, true or false? Researchers have found that one of the parental behaviors that had the biggest impact on student achievement is attending school activities. What do you think? Put that in the chat. Is it true? Is it false? What do you think the research said? True, true. Got some true. Thank you for responding. A lot of true, a lot of true. Excellent. Thank you, those of you who've put in the chat. What do you think? One of the parental behaviors that had the biggest impact on student achievement is attending school activities. What do you think? True or false? True or false? Leaving time for a few more responses. What do you think? True or false? I should have done a poll question. Fact. Let me see if I can do it that way. Can I do this in the middle? See a bunch of true, bunch of true, bunch of true. I don't see the poll question. All right, next time I'll figure out how to do the poll question. Everybody's saying true. Well, move to the next slide, and you might be surprised to find out that that is actually false. It turns out that attending lots of school events wasn't necessarily correlated to high student outcomes. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean you shouldn't attend school events, but it wasn't one of the most highly correlated ones for student outcomes. That's surprising to a lot of people. It was kind of a surprising result of the research. Second question, I promise there's only 2 questions here. Okay, I guess that makes sense. But what about this? What about this question? Researchers found that one of the parental behaviors that significantly impacts student achievement is parents supervising homework. What do you think? Put it in the chat. True or false? Is that, what do you think? True? Is that false? True or false? What do you think? Supervising homework. Supervising homework. Lot of true, 2 true so far. Thank you, thank you. True. True. Supervising homework. About 10 more seconds. What do you think? Someone changes to false. Okay. Okay. Turns out it's actually false as well. Supervising homework and attending lots of school events are good things to do, but when researchers looked at the correlation between specific parent actions and student grades, those weren't the highest. In fact, those weren't much correlated at all. It turns out that there are 4 things that are really correlated between parent actions and student outcomes. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. No, I should go in and actually tell you what they are. All right, so what are the 4 things that parents can do to really have the highest impact on their child's outcomes? Here we go. Number 1, and this is kind of a no-brainer, and I know I'm preaching to the choir right here. Having high academic expectations. So if parents have high academic expectations for your child, that is the thing that has the biggest impact on student outcomes. So what that looks like is talking with your child about how important school is, what is your child's attitude towards teachers, the value of education. I know that you all already have that because you're on here with me this morning. So keep doing what you're doing in terms of that. So that was number 1. Number 2, regular communication. So regular communication includes developing and maintaining communication with your child about their school life. So speaking deeply with your child about what's happening at school, what they're experiencing it. And many of you also already are in the practice of doing this already. So that is excellent. That's really going to help your child be successful. And I'm recording this for folks who weren't able to join us live. And it helps you nip problems in the bud. And I thank you for parents who have reached out to me already and said, hey, this is what my child is saying. And it allows me to move forward and take any next steps. All right, so those are number 1 and number 2. Number 1, high academic expectations. Number 2, being in regular communication. Number 3, this is a big one, and we kind of thought maybe is elementary, but it continues. Number 3, good reading habits. So when your child is in elementary school, maybe reading to your child, but when they are in middle school, what this may look like is having set aside times when you and your child are reading alongside of them or reading at the same time. And so what that means is having a time during the evening when cell phones are off, TV is off, laptops are off, and parent has a book and child has a book, or middle schooler has a book, and it's reading time. And that has been found to be a significant impact on student grades. So some of you already do that. Some of you, maybe that might be a new practice, but I encourage you to think about how you might do that. Because it is what the science and the research shows, that having specific reading habits with your child, and you are a powerful person to make an impact in that way. And then number 4, so not supervising homework, but having homework rules. So establishing for your child clear rules about how to deal with dividing their homework time and leisure time, explaining to them, especially in middle school, explaining to them why the rules are in place and helping them make better decisions. So what that is when they arrive home, they get a snack and it's 30 minutes of just working on the homework, and there's a timer on that, and that's the clear rule. And once the timer ends, then you have set, you can take a break, you can play a video game, you can do what it is that you want to do, but we've got that specific homework rules. So what I've seen a lot of times with students who struggle is when there's not a sense of homework rules at home in place. So having clear homework rules has been found to make a significant impact. So again, just to summarize, what are some of the parental behaviors about what can I do to help support my child? And again, the biggest ones are surprisingly not attending lots of school events, supervising homework, but they are having high academic expectations, regular communication, good reading habits, and homework rules. And I encourage you to find out more information. So you can look at the whole infographic. You can look at the actual peer-reviewed study if you want, available at the link that's on the screen, also in the chat. So we'll be coming to that maybe once a month or so. We're sharing some of these insights that the research and the science has found. Okay, shifting gears a little bit. Speaking of homework rules, one of the resources that you all have access to and your child has access to at LAUSD this year is something called tutor.com, and it's a paid service where one-on-one tutoring is available to students. However, this year LAUSD is paying for it. So there's information at that website, tutor.com/LAUSD, and your child can log on to there. You can log on with them and you can see how you can connect them with tutoring. All right, quick update on our construction project. Those of you who've done drop off and pickup have seen that all of the construction that was happening last week is now gone, because in its place, they have now finalized the new ADA ramp that's there on the sidewalk. And now that that's there, the next step in this project at some point moving forward will be for the city of LA to paint a crosswalk across Park Hill Drive at that intersection. And then after that, the goal is once there's a crosswalk there, then we can apply to have a crossing guard there. As a school principal, honestly, that is my biggest concern about, student safety during dismissal and during entry, is kids crossing the street. I've seen way too many times a kid will get out of their car on the other side and just walk in front of the car that dropped him off and then across the street, and the car coming north on Park Hill Drive can't see him coming. So please if you do that, please have your child walk up to the intersection, cross there. There will be a crosswalk shortly. Again, just a reminder, although all students eat for free this year, please take a couple of minutes and fill out the My School Apps lunch meal application, because it provides funding for Katherine Johnson STEM Academy. Even if you think you don't qualify, it doesn't matter. Your child can eat for free anyway. Please fill that out. Shouldn't take you longer than 10 or 15 minutes. The Beyond the Bell program continues to happen Mondays through Thursdays from 3:46 to 6 p.m. On Fridays, it happens from 2:17, which is dismissal time, until 6 p.m. Just as a reminder, this is an important reminder, if your child is participating in the Beyond the Bell program on Fridays today, if they do it, they actually can't get picked up until after 3:30 p.m. because we have the early dismissal, and the high school does not dismiss until 3:30. Those gates down on 91st Street are actually locked. So either they need to get picked up at 2:17 exactly, or they need to get picked up after 3:30 p.m. at the Beyond the Bell time. This week, we sent as a school our packet of forms that we ask parents to sign every year. This year, for the first time ever, we've done it all on Docusign. It includes our school-wide expectations, some other forms as well. And so you should have received by email a link to review that with your child, but also a link to initial the different sections of that, sign that, and as soon as you click finish, we get a copy of that instantly. So you're all done. You don't have to worry about, you know, papers in your child's backpack. It's there. It's good to go. If you didn't get the Docusign email, do a couple things for me. If you could search in your spam folder for beginning of the year forms for parent signature. It may be wound up in spam. Usually they don't, but sometimes it does. Number two, it's possible that it went to another parent of your child who we have on record here at the school. So check with that other parent to see if they got it. If they did, but you want a copy as well, shoot me an email. Let me know. I can send you a copy. The third possibility is, particularly if you're a new family and you didn't get it, we may not have your correct email. So you want to contact the school and just verify that we do have the correct email for you and for your child. So you're getting all the updates. All right, COVID updates. So I'll always give you this. So currently, if you go on the dashboard, we have one positive case among staff and students. That person is safe. They're at home. They're isolating. They're following all the protocols. And then once that person tests negative, they'll return to campus. Just as a reminder, if your child is feeling ill, don't send them to school. Don't send them to school. Keep them home. If you think it might be COVID symptoms, take one of those rapid antigen tests. If it's positive, upload it to the Daily Pass, and that way we can make sure that everyone is safe as possible. I think this is the last announcement. Yes, this is the last announcement. Is this? So our back to school night for the fall is coming up in just about 2 weeks. Thursday, September 8th. Here at the school from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's here at the school, and you'll get a chance to meet all your child's teachers, to hear an overview of the curriculum that they'll be learning, to learn information about how to be in contact with them, to learn classroom policies, things like that. So we look forward to seeing you on Thursday, September 8th. That is also a minimum day. Students will be dismissed that day at 1:23 p.m. In the afternoon, and we'll remind everybody of that as we get closer. So again, we hope to see you there, and I hope my research earlier didn't encourage you not to come to this. Please do come to this this fall. It's in about a little bit under 2 weeks on September 8th. Just a reminder, it's not parent conferences. It's not one-on-one conversations with your teacher. It's a group, it's overview. You will have an opportunity to reach out to the teacher and schedule a one-on-one meeting if you want to, but we will have a formal parent conferences coming up in October, around the 10th week of school. All right, so that is it for all. That is all the updates and the announcements that I have. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll stop the share, and I got about 10 minutes remaining. And so at this time, if you have any questions, go ahead, and we got more people than we've had last year, which is good because our enrollment is actually increasing. If you got a question, if you could put the raise hand button, or if you could put your question in the chat, I'll go, back and forth. Go ahead, Ms. Taylor.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So I have a question. It's a little bit of a concerning question. My daughter has been coming home almost daily saying that there's been fights or altercations at school. And I want to know, what is the school's policy on that? What are you guys doing to correct this? And, how can my child come to school and feel safe?
Absolutely, great question. So I'll share that there have been a couple of fights between students this year. Obviously, student privacy laws prevent me from sharing any details regarding that. But what we have done is we have dealt consequences in all of those situations. There have not been any repeats with students who have been involved in any altercations. It was a one and done for each of those students. Again, I'm not permitted to share specifically what next steps are for those students, but what I can tell you is that some of the things that we have used in the past and continue to use are things like after school campus beautification, where students are, we give them trash bags and pickers and we walk around together, and we're not, learning to use our hands appropriately and safely, we'll use our hands to do something productive, which is, make the school cleaner and safer. We have in the past, and moving forward, there are privileges that can be revoked from students. So, for example, Beyond the Bell is a privilege, and we have and will deny participation to students who don't follow the rules for Beyond the Bell, and that's something that I've done before. That's something that I do when necessary for students. Number 3, in your child, and I don't have it on me, I think it's, here we go. In your child's agenda planner, we have our school-wide positive behavior supports school rules that every child has a copy of. This actually is the Docusign that you all received earlier. The other piece of it is this week. The other piece of it is this week is that our teachers have been going over that in their classrooms. I have made videos, screencast videos of me going over every single section of these, and what I can do is I can actually share that blah, blah, blah. I can actually share the videos of me going over the sections with families. So if you want that extra support of, hey, I want to sit down with my child and watch the principal go over the section on, what lunchtime looks like, I can give you the link for that, and you can actually watch that with your child. So those are things. One of the other things that we do when necessary, and again, have done in the past and will continue to do, is we will meet together with families, with parents, and with children together. So I'll call them into my office. We will all sit down together. They'll sit there, they'll sit together, discuss what happened, talk about what the school consequences will be, and then make commitments moving forward. And those sorts of things are the things that help students to, once they make that mistake, to learn from that mistake so that it doesn't happen again. Hopefully all of those things answered the question.
I just have one more follow-up question.
Yeah.
Is there supervision during nutrition time, during lunchtime?
Yep.
Is there adult supervision during those times?
So the folks who are, yes, there's supervision before the school, there's supervision during wellness, there's supervision during lunchtime, there's supervision after school during dismissal, and there's supervision during the Beyond the Bell time. I am out there, Mr. Medellin is out there, Ms. Guth is out there, Ms. Tracy is out there on the days that she is here, Ms. Toro is out there, Mr. Nick is out there. So a couple of things to note. We've had some staff absences recently, and we have weird geometry at the school. I think some of you have seen, the way our bungalows are set up. So we have to, so we rotate, we not wander, but we walk, we actively engage students, we talk to students, we engage with them, but we also, like lifeguards, monitor. So when there is something that looks like it could be an argument or disagree with that, we are able to, walk into that to address that. And so what we're looking for is like the seeds of something, and then an adult is trained to go up, hey guys, what's going on? And have that conversation that way. And a lot of kids will automatically interpret that, as a fight, even if it didn't necessarily get to a physical conflict. I did see a question in the chat regarding to clarify, is the fighting happening beyond the bell? So the trick is I'm not able to discuss the particulars of the situation, but I can tell you that the supervision does exist in both places, and the people who are involved in that absolutely know the details and the consequences for that. Great question. Thank you so much for asking that question. I see there's some questions in the chat, and then I see Laura. So let me get to some of the questions in the chat. So I noticed the kids are waiting in line to enter the school. Yes, and the reason we do that is because we check we collect their cell phones there. So we put them locked safe away in the vault, and then the kids get them back right at the end of the day. So there is a short wait to enter the school. Usually what happens, there's maybe like a 2-minute wait at 8:15, and then it slows down. And then what I'm noticing recently is that there's a lot of families who are dropping off after 8:38, but before 8:45. That's a really tricky time because a lot of people are coming there. I'm going to recommend around, between 8:15 and 8:38 is a perfect time, so that when that bell rings at 8:38, they can go straight to class and not be late by 8:45. But again, we go through those lines as quickly as we can, and it's way faster than last year when we had to do the whole daily pass scanning. There's another question in the chat, and then Laura. So I understand that football nor basketball are currently available for the kiddos to play in the front area. Is there an update on when one or both will be available to them? Yes. So our goal, so we actually have two basketball hoops on campus. They're actually right in the alleyway next to my office right here. And our goal is to put them up early next week, one in the back area. I think given the size of our front area, I think we'll reserve that for football. And then early next week, we'll have the equipment out with the sports equipment and footballs and things that kids can play during wellness and lunchtime. So that's the goal. So early next week. Great question. Laura, go ahead.
Just really quickly, and you've mentioned this before, but sort of the best way to communicate with the teachers. I believe the particular teacher, and I can't remember his name right now, but I don't see him on Dojo. And you mentioned Blackboard, but I don't know exactly how to access that.
Yeah, so Blackboard is pretty much one-way communication. Blackboard is when I just send stuff to everybody enrolled. The very best way is Class Dojo. The second best way is what do you call it? Schoology. Third best way would be email. Our new teachers are also new to Dojo, so it's taken just a half a second to get them used to what that looks like. But Class Dojo is the way to do that, and I think everyone should be connected by now on Class Dojo. If you're not, reach out to Miss Guith, and she can give you information on connecting to Class Dojo, and I'll put the link in the chat, which I just did.
Okay, thank you.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Question last, and I apologize because I do have a hard stop at 9:30. So this will be the last question of this morning. If you didn't get your question answered, no worries. Just reach out to me, and I'll in an email or something. So the question was, what happens during PE on Fridays? I understand they don't change on Fridays, but what is the goal during their time together? Great question. So I can speak generally about that, and then Miss Casimir can speak more specifically, particularly at back to school night. So PE, kids have all 8 classes, and it's really short, 33 minutes. So that's obviously not enough time to go change at all. So they do a couple of things. So sometimes Miss Casimir comes out to our small front lawn and does light PE activities up there that don't require them to change. So that's one thing that could happen. A second thing that often happens is Miss Casimir is excellent at connecting kids with social emotional learning, mindfulness, mental health, because mental health is physical health. And so many times on Fridays, she may keep the students in the classroom. She actually has an assigned classroom to her. And so she'll many times on Fridays keep the students in the classroom, and they'll do an activity together in that room with Ms. Casimir? So that's an excellent question. That's my very broad answer. If you have more detailed questions, please reach out to Ms. Casimir directly on that. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great great Friday. Thank you so much. And I will see you. I will see you all at pickup or when I see you next week. And then the last thing I'll say is, if the person who is scheduled to meet with me at 9:30 is still on here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the meeting right now, and then I'm going to restart it. Just rejoin. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.